I was born in England, in Ulverston, Lancashire, and my family were a theatrical family, so I've been associated with the business since I was born. My parents were in the dramatic business. My dad wrote shows and produced shows and also had a circuit of theaters around the north of England. So I was born in Lancashire, but I was raised in several parts, in Durham, around the Tyneside, and finally up in Glasgow, Scotland. I received most of my education. Well, I did start out very early. In fact, my dad wanted me to be in the front of the theater business. He'd been through a lot of hardships in his day. He had been with circuses and shows and what have you, so he felt it was a rough business for anybody, and he would prefer that I did odd jobs around the theater in Glasgow and other theaters, in the box office, taking care of the program, and chocolate receipts, and general utilities, if I'd say. I first started appearing on the stage and made appearances in some of the dramatic shows that appeared at the Metropole Theatre in Glasgow, and played little bits and parts of newsboy or something. It was just to break me in, as you might say. But my dad wasn't too favorable of me doing it. But anyway, it was in my blood, and I didn't have much education. It was my own fault. I had every chance, but I don't know, the spirit of the theater was in me, and education didn't mean it. It was more glamour. So anyway, I finally broke out as a boy comedian, which was quite popular those days. There were several boy comedians doing very well. So I started out in the music halls as a boy comedian. I wasn't too successful, however, because I'd had no experience and didn't have any material of any kind. In fact, I hadn't found myself anywhere. Didn't know just what kind of a comic I was or anything else, but I was just happy to be in front of the footlights. So anyway, my dad finally got me a job in a pantomime, Christmas pantomime. It was The Sleeping Beauty. So from there, I tried a little bit of music halls again, and then I went into a dramatic show, played a comedy part in it, and that folded up. So I finally drifted into the Fred Carno Company. That was Carno's London Comedians. And with the same outfit was Charlie Chaplin, many of the Carno stars. Well, he wasn't with that particular company when I first joined, but Carno had several companies on the road, and Charlie would jump from one to another, as we all would be sent to different assignments. Well, finally, Chaplin joined our troupe, and after about a year, we were booked to come over to America. I was in 1910, and we were to open at the Percy Williams Theater called the Alhambra. Well, after that, we were supposed to go to Hammerstein's for 2 weeks. But after the first show at Percy Williams' house, the management of Hammerstein's canceled our appearance. The show was a flop. Well, the trouble was we'd never seen the show. We weren't familiar with it, and we were supposed to rehearse the show coming over on the boat. Well, we had terrible storms. We took 12 days crossing, and being a cattle, both the quarters were very uncomfortable, of course. And everybody was ill, seasick, so no rehearsals were ever gotten to. So, of course, we arrived in Monday morning, and the scenery was all brand new, and we weren't familiar with the show at all. So consequently, it was just a big mix-up when we got out there. So Percy Williams was very pleased with the troupe, and we played 4 more theaters for him. Then we were deciding to go back to England. We'd even written home, said we'd be back home, big success. So anyway, during the playing of the Williams houses, Marcus Lowe was opening a brand new theater in New York called the $1 Million Theater. It was later called the National. What it is now, or even if it's still there, I don't know. Anyway, at that time, he had a little theater in Fall River. So he sent the troupe down there for 3 days. And if they made good, he was going to put us on the opening show of the new $1 Million Theater. Well, we didn't do the show that we came over with. We picked the one that we were familiar with. That was the night in an English music hall, Mummingbirds, as we call it in England. And the show was a terrific hit, because we were all at home with it. We knew every bit of it, you see. So we played a week. They held us over. So, of course, naturally, we opened the National Theater, or the $1 Million Theater at that time, with big success. Then from there, we went to William Morris, the American Music Hall. And we ran at the American Music Hall for 6 weeks. We did a different show every week. We had a repertoire of shows, and including the one that we flopped in. We'd all gotten together and really became a success. So anyway, from there we went to the American Theater in Chicago for Morris. We played there 3 weeks. Then we came back to the Plaza on 5th Avenue, New York, and we played there 3 weeks. Then we went to Philadelphia, and we opened the new Nixon Erdlinger Theater, and we played in Philadelphia for 12 weeks. And then we started out on the Sullivan and Constantine circuit. That was the circuit that came to the coast. So it was during that trip that Max Sennett saw Chaplin. For a couple of years after that, they were negotiating. And finally, on the last trip, I think it was 1913, they played the Carno shows on the S&C time. I think they had 3 or 4 straight runs. Babe wasn't serious, he loved to play. He didn't hold much interest in the production of the picture. I'd never see him between pictures. We'd call up and say, when do we start, or when do we salt? I think our success in that situation was due to the fact that we never mixed socially. There was never any jealousy between the team because of Babe's attitude that he left everything to me. He was very happy to know that he didn't have to be worried or have any responsibility at all. He wouldn't accept any responsibility. Oh, they were marvelous days. It was really delightful. Well, correspondence is about all I can do. The television, correspondence, friends dropping in, little card game now and then. Well, I'm very happy and content. I've been very fortunate. Yes, a lot of happy memories.